Hello and welcome to Re-enthused. Today we are taking a look at this, the Thomson MO5, or otherwise known as the Micro Ordinateur 5, because this is indeed a French computer. Made in 1984, it was Thomson's response to the French government's Plan Informatique pour tous, or Computing for All program. In a way, this is kind of very similar to how the BBC Micro came to be, with Acorn responding to, well, in this case, the BBC's, but really a government project for technical education for children. So, yeah, the similarities don't really end there as such. It's although this is based on a 609E Motorola chip, it's kind of it's a kissing cousin of the 6502, which is in the BBC Micro, and is also the same CPU that you would see in a few other machines, including the Vectrex. If you haven't seen that before, we have done a video on that. It's an excellent console, just for various reasons, but mostly its inbuilt vector screen, but also the TRS-80 and the venerable Welsh computer, the Dragon series, the 32 and the 64. So it's not one of the better known chips, but it does indeed have a really good retro heritage to it. The machine had 48k memory, although 16k of that was devoted to video RAM. And yeah, it wasn't a huge success. There were various versions. I've got this version with the rubber chiclet keys. It is, I would say, a better keyboard than the Spectrums, although the keys are smaller, but it's got much firmer and travel on it as well, so it doesn't feel quite as squidgy as the Spectrum keyboard. But it's got quite a lot more colours than the Spectrum, and I would argue, even though, and this is definitely sacrilege from someone from my generation from England, I would say this is a much nicer overall design. I think it just looks very, very smart, especially if I move some stuff around here and bring in the tape drive for it. So the Maxim tape drive, obviously something the Spectrum was missing for much of its life. Bit of an avalanche going on. But yeah, if we bring in the matching tape drive designed to be used with it, and put that next door on this side. There we go. See, it's just it's a very pleasing overall design. The MO5 logo especially being kind of a standout there. So yeah, obviously you can see there's a cartridge port there as well. If we look on the back, we have an expansion slot, as you can see here. This, you'll probably see. You know what? I'm going to have to move this out of the way again. You see this cable? This is the built-in SCART cable. Obviously, yeah, as you can see, non-removable, and it's French, so therefore it follows the CCAM colour standard, so it won't necessarily work properly in England, although the OSSC seems to handle it perfectly fine. There's the around here, the barrel jack for the power, and on the side here we have a couple of interesting things. So that's they've got little logos on them. That's the tape input, but this here is a dedicated light pen port. So I'll bring the light pen out, because the light pen is possibly one of my favourite parts of this whole thing. Look at that. Is that a sexy piece of kit or what? That is actually metal as well, not plastic. But that's it's a gorgeous bit of kit. And yeah, as you can see, a dedicated light pen port. So it was expected this to be used, which I guess in an educational environment, light pens can be quite useful. Right, now as you can probably see, or if I turn it around and get that, it's Azerty layout. Again, obviously a French computer. There were other models of this. There were some with actually proper keycap keys. There are also QWERTY layout ones as well, which were designed for export. And Olivetti also had released some of these machines in other countries, specifically Italy. Not, I think, the MO5, but probably the follow-up, because the MO5 was quite short-lived. So it was introduced originally in 1984, and it was discontinued in 1986 when it was replaced with the MO6, its big brother, which had more memory and just lots of improvements. Because one of the big things this is missing, and let's bring in another bit of kit to add to our growing pile. is this does not have sound hardware in there. Another parallel with the Sinclair Spectrum there. It just has a beeper. However, it did very quickly release a few add-ons, including this, which is see the extension music music and game module. So that added 2 joystick ports on the back. These are DIN. They did release later ones which had Atari style joypad ports as well, but it also added in a music chip too, so you could get enhanced music for games that supported it. Now, the joypads are indeed, well, joysticks, sorry, are interesting. So if you own some old consoles, you might well recognize this design. This is, well, it almost certainly is the Philips Video Pack joystick. So the Odyssey 2 style, and it's identical. It's got to be from the same molds. I didn't find any particular information about it being made by Philips or not, but it must be. It's identical. Yeah, and they're quite nice joysticks actually. They've got a nice strong spring on them, and obviously a single button. But you know, this day and age, that's all you really needed. The games mostly released on tape. In fact, there are a lot of solid state options for this. I don't have one yet, so the games I'll be showing will be loaded from tape. Although, you know what? This is probably the first machine I've ever bought, a vintage machine, where the tape drive has just worked, full stop, just straight away. The like all the Amstrad CBCs I've got, the tapes needed loads of work on it to get it to work. But this one, every game I tried to load, loaded. Which frankly is astonishing. Well, here's a small subset of the games I've got. This is these all came with the machine when I bought it. This is possibly my favourite one, and it's definitely the reason why I end up bidding on this auction. So there it is, and it's called Mission Pas Possible. Literally Mission Not Possible. And it's not just like a poorly translated Mission Impossible game. This is an unofficial Mission Impossible game. Apparently, I was told by a couple of French people anyway. And as you can see, it says list of compatible machines there. So MO5 and TO7. So the TO7 were kind of the executive range of computers, which this was based on loosely. So it was effectively a cut down version of those machines, which Thomson quickly made to try and fulfill the French government's requirements. Again, very much like the Acorn and the BBC Micro. A lot of parallels there. Now, a lot of these games come in these cases, so these giant plastic cases. I really like them. They're really nice. They don't, unfortunately, just being giant doesn't stop them from being having the hinges broken like all tapes cases do. But yeah, so when you open it up, you just see it's just they are just cassettes, and the front of the case, it doubles as the manual, which is nice. A few things obviously do that. And yeah, again, this has got each side has a different version. So tape 1 and tape 2 on this side is Thomson TO7, on the other side is the MO5. So this has fast become, since buying it, probably one of my favourite machines that I own. It's I think it looks really nice. It works really well, and it just has some fantastic games. Not just, you know, Mission Pas Possible, which just, you know, really tickles me just in the naming fun, but some genuinely good games too. There's a lot of games you'll see. You know, well, actually, there's one in the tape drive here which would perfectly do that. The eject button maybe doesn't work exactly, but yeah. So a lot of games by a certain well-known manufacturer. If the camera. You can probably just about see that. Yeah, so obviously Infogrames is a French software manufacturer, so quite a few of the games released for this machine, and there were well over 200 titles released for it over its lifetime. It were made by Infogrames, so there's a nice bit of heritage there. Right. Well, let's take a look at some of the games. Here we are, and as you can see, that's Microsoft Basic. So in terms of the normal basic stuff, it is identical. So we can do the usual. So the usual. It's a little bit harder to type on a QWERTY keyboard when you're used to QWERTY. But the basics, nope, that's not it. We want that one. There we go. But the basics are the same. because yeah, Microsoft Basic, fairly standard. Now if we do run and push enter, there we go. And we've got a stop button which can, well, just pauses it. So there you go. Initial program button, which I think just means reset. Just an average basic system, but nicely featured. It's a good basic Microsoft Basic. Yeah, and like a lot of machines that had a dedicated tape player, this also has tape control, so it will stop and start the tape as needed. The tape deck itself has an external power plug, which is built in, like say the Commodore, which got its power from the user port. Right. Let's take a look. We have got a game called Vampire in, and fortunately the previous owners have handily written in how to load the games up, because I had no idea, having never owned Thomson computer before. So it's load M. There are, by the way, whilst this is a typed operating system, there are instructions on the keys, and I think if you hold down the basic button and hit them, yeah, you get them. So it's kind of a halfway house between how the Spectrum did it and how a lot of other machines did it, which is pretty cool. Right, and then we just do this, and I think that's a semicolon at the end, and then hit enter. Nope, that's not right at all. What have I done wrong? I'm pretty sure it's load M. I'll get back with you in a second now when I've got this running. Right, there we go. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because we had it the other command in the way. But now if we hit play and make sure we got it on the right side, because if it's the T07 side, it will not ever find the program. But now basically it should eventually find a program it can load. Oh, there we go. And quite a nice colourful little loading screen there. Right, so this is Vampire. Now I'm not sure if... is it joystick controlled? Nope, it's keyboard controlled. Okay, so what are the keys? Okay, so it's the cursor keys, which is, yeah, quite tight. So basically this is like an action-adventure. There we go. This is an action-adventure game where you have to kind of find the right weapon to deal with the different monsters. So we just picked up a gun, which I think means silver bullets. So we need to find, well, I mean yeah. We need to find the werewolf, I assume, to deal with the silver bullets. Right, up here. I don't know if we're supposed to be. I don't think we're supposed to be a vampire, but oh god. Yeah, we get stuck on the moon. I think that's supposed to be the moon, but we get stuck on that. It's quite a pretty game, really. Oh god. Don't know how we deal with the genie. But yeah, so it's an interesting enough game. And as I don't know how we deal with the genie, but oh, is that a werewolf? Actually, that might be a werewolf. It looks like a genie, but it may be a werewolf. There we go. It was a werewolf. So now we can go through this gate. And there's another gun there. I don't know what the bin bag is. I'm assuming that's a vampire. Yeah, it's quite a nice, colourful game. Right, but let's get on to the next one. Right, so this is Karate with a really nice, really nice kind of rolling effect there. That is very nice. Right. Oh, this one's got joystick control. Excellent. All right, so single player, I assume. Oh, that's very nice. I do like that an awful lot. I've got to choose. Right, joystick. Oh, a bit of sample speech as well. Yeah, that's nice. Right, this is a more Spectrum looking game. Oh. It's a really nice animation though. It's not quite Wade Exploding Fist or Ya Kung Fu, but it's nice animation. Don't feel like I'm fully in control. Am I not hitting him? Oh, flying kick, there we go. I wish you got to hit someone to get them out. Surely he's almost won. Right, so here we are with the actual game. Androids. Press 1 or 2, so we need 1. Player 1. Right, it's not joystick controlled. And it's not cursor controlled. What are the keys? Right, that may have just frozen, or I've hit something. I don't know. Right, well that's it. I do have a few other games, including I've got a game called Mandragore, which everyone said to me, oh, that's a really, really good game, and it looks really good. It looks very King's Quest. Unfortunately, it appears the version I've got is only for the TO7, and it came with this machine, so it was a bit weird. But looking at the tapes, they literally just say TO7 and nothing else. So, and I have tried loading them just in case, but it doesn't pick up any of the files when you're loading it, which is a general sign that it doesn't work for the machine. That's a shame. It looks like a really good game. I mean, I imagine at some point I'm slightly hooked on these machines now. I'll certainly try and get a TO7 and probably an MO6 as well, the follow-up to this one. Right, well that's it. It's a really nice machine. I think it looks the part. This one is in really good condition actually, considering. It had a few knocks, especially on the power lead and the video cable, which was actually most of the repairs other than changing capacitors inside. But yeah, it's a nice machine. It's a really nice addition to my collection. I really like it. And it was a pretty capable computer for its time, really. Well, in the end, of course, it was beaten by other micros. The Amstrad CPC range especially was very popular in France, so it didn't really have that much chance of competing, which... Let's be honest, a bit of a parallel to the BBC Micro in the UK as well. It was in all the schools, but it really was nowhere near as popular as the Spectrum, Commodore and Amstrad in the homes. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like. If you really enjoyed the video, please hit subscribe. If you didn't enjoy the video or you have something else to say, then please leave it in the comments below. See you next time.